Welcome to What's Cooking. I'm Rebecca Warner, the registered dietitian with the Hearts Beat Back Heart of New Ulm project. And tonight we are on location at Valley Veggies. We're going to have a great tour of a beautiful garden. You might not know what is available right here in our own backyard. We'll be following that up with a great recipe. So stay tuned, we have some great information. Now with us will be our guide for the evening, Terry Anderson. Welcome, Terry.
Hi.
And thanks for having us out here. This is a great place and beautiful scenery.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about where we are now and where we're going to be going.
Well, this is inside of the sales building. We pick the produce fresh and then we set it out for any customers that come in. One of our special features this year is bouquets. We make zinnia and basil bouquets. We're pretty tickled about that one. That was this year's creation. And as you come through this way, you can see there's plenty of summer squash and peppers and onions. And depending on the time of year, we have different vegetables available. By this weekend, we should expect green beans. And as time goes by, we've got winter squash on the way, plenty of tomatoes, herbs.
And Terry, we're just right out on Highway 68, just
Yes.
outside of Mankato, between New Mankato and Judson, right? Right across?
Yes, yep. We're exactly 5.5 miles from Mankato.
Okay.
And we're exactly 20 miles from New Ulm.
All right, so perfect. A quick, easy, beautiful drive out here. So let's go ahead, start walking the gardens, and we're going to see what's available. All right, Terry, what I'm seeing are some beautiful flowers. Are these just for looks? Do they just accent the garden, or what do you do with these?
Well, they do have a purpose. First, they attract bees and butterflies, and that's how we got started growing them. And so many people were in love with them that we decided to make it a pick-your-own patch.
Great.
Yep, so you can get 7 stems for $2.50. We give you a cup with water in it and then a bag to put around it so you can put them in your cup holder and get them home safely.
Well, great. Now tell us a little bit about what kind of flowers these are, because like you mentioned, you're actually trying to attract the bees.
Yep, these are a special zinnia. They're actually for professional cut flowers.
Okay.
Zinnias attract the butterflies and the bees and the hummingbirds too, which we kind of get excited when hummingbirds start cruising through here.
Right.
And then right next to that, we have a pick-your-own herb patch.
I'll catch up to you.
I'm supposed to be probably left him behind.
So these are a variety of herbs, and you're going to tell us a little bit about what's available and how we could use these.
Oh, how we can use them? Well, that's my daughter's department. I just grow it. There's a nice bunch of sage. There's 2 kinds of parsley. There's the moss curled and the flat leaf. A lot of times the flat leaf is used for a cilantro substitute.
Okay.
There's celery. Now this celery is not your traditional long stem celery that you get in the grocery store. It's used more for flavoring orange soup.
Okay.
And then along in here we have Thai basil, and then purple basil, and then sweet basil, and a little bit of lemon basil tucked back in the corner.
Great. Now what can we expect between the purple and the regular basil? So what's the difference in the flavor? A lot, or is it something that's going to change the appearance of your recipe?
The Thai basil definitely has a very distinctive flavor. I'm not even sure how to describe it other than let you try it and smell it and taste it.
You know, and I think that's something that's amazing. As we stand out here, you're going to see that there's a tremendous amount of different smells, and you know, you're kind of enticed by every different plant we come across because it has great smells and appearance, things that we don't really get to see when we buy it in the grocery store. I see here you have a row of peppers as well. Are these regular green bell peppers, or what do you have?
No, actually those are your mini snack peppers.
Okay.
And they change into all the different colors. They go from green, yellow, orange to red. You've probably seen them in the grocery store. They're usually in a little plastic bag all together. Right.
Yeah, and these are great too for recipes. You don't have to take all those seeds out there. A little bit smaller, easier to use, and because you can get all of the different colors, you can get it all in one bag. So a nice little way to do this, and you can get them right here at Valley Veggies.
All right.
All right, so what do we have up next?
Well, behind the ugly old wheelbarrow here, we have a sample row of okra. And I try to keep this okra up front so that people can see what okra actually looks like when it's growing. It's really a very beautiful plant. That is available too. in our market.
Great. Now, something that most Minnesotans maybe haven't even tried is okra, right?
Yeah.
It seems like a southern food.
That is true. For many years, I really couldn't sell it. I had to either give it away or just try and get people to taste it. But that is a very much different story now.
Good.
There's
good.
a lot more interest in the okra.
And you know, when you buy it like this, there's really no quantity that you have to purchase, so you don't have to worry about a lot of food waste. So if you want to come out and get a few okra, give them a try, that's something that you can do here as well, right?
Absolutely.
Good.
And we do have recipes on our Facebook page and website that include okra
Perfect.
in them. In fact, I just posted one today with green tomatoes and okra.
All right.
Yeah.
Right, so this
Yeah.
looks like to be some of our indoor plants, and what's the purpose of doing this instead of having everything open and out?
Well, we can plant the tomatoes in the ground sooner that way, and that way we get them the first week in July instead of more like August or September.
Okay.
So everybody's wondering, how do we have early tomatoes this year? That's how we did it. This was actually a project that was 5 years in the making and planning, and we finally got the realization of it this spring.
Awesome.
Yep, so then we have chard that we grow here, and then there's more celery, and these are Mexican gherkins, which we don't sell these, but it's kind of exciting when you can taste them, and it looks like somebody's been tasting, because they're back here. I don't know.
So
if you
this is
wanna-
a Mexican gherkin.
This is a Mexican gherkin, and it tastes like it has vinegar on it already. It's a cucumber that tastes like it has vinegar.
Sure does.
So if you come through and you ask for a little tour, you usually get to sample these.
Delicious.
Yep, and then farther back, obviously we have peppers all the way through here. There's lemon cucumbers and then regular cucumbers. And this is where we grow our carrots.
Okay.
We have such a heavy clay soil on this side of the road that the carrots just don't do very well. So we've discovered that they actually do better in a raised
box.
bed, because we've mixed sand and other things in with it,
Okay.
and then can contain it.
And about how many carrots do you think you produce in these boxes?
Oh, probably a couple hundred.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
In just a small area. So I think that's important too for even for our home gardeners to see.
Yep.
You don't need to have so much room. Many people will say that they don't have enough room in their backyard, but
Oh, yeah.
if in these 3 raised boxes we're pulling out
Yep.
several hundred carrots, it does mean that maybe you could give it a try at home as well.
Oh yes, definitely.
Good.
And if we could just go back out, that's. And then we do have a few added herbs in here. There's
Good
dill.
dill.
There's dill, and then this is chocolate mint and apple mint and more cilantro in pots. You know, we do like to show people the possibilities of what you can do in your yard to grow vegetables or herbs. It doesn't necessarily take a whole lot of space to do it.
Exactly. You might have heard her, you might wonder if you heard her correctly, but there is actually a chocolate mint right here. And when we taste it, you will have a little bit of a chocolate taste to it. It's pretty amazing. It's something that we like to add into recipes. You can add it in a salad and add a little extra flavor. What you said, this is an apple mint?
Yep.
An apple mint. You can have things like citrus mint. What else have you grown?
Let's see, just the regular mint. Let's see, citrus mint. I'm trying to think what else. Chocolate mint. I think that's it, to be honest.
Yeah,
for
so
the
there's
mint.
a lot of different varieties. So you don't be afraid to give some of these new herbs a try.
Yeah, lemon mint.
Lemon, yep.
And then we do have some lavender back in there, and cilantro that has turned into coriander,
Okay.
and more cilantro down there. Cilantro is one of those tricky herbs to grow. I'm trying to get the timing of it right with your tomatoes.
Okay.
Is truly a challenge. In fact, for a few years, I just quit growing cilantro because it drove me crazy. But because of popular demand, I started growing it in pots, and that way I could control it a little bit more.
Okay.
Otherwise, it goes to seed really fast, which that's an example of it right there, that it turned
Right.
to coriander.
And you do want the cilantro and tomatoes at the same time because that's how you get the best salsa, right? The best fresh salsa.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, we got some huge sunflowers.
Yeah, actually, those are random.
Just random. They came up on their own.
Yeah, those were onions. Some of the onions that you see in there, they came out of here, and
Those
the
just
suburbs
appeared.
came up and they did their thing. Another thing that we like to do in our gardens is save all of the milkweeds. So like you see a milkweed here and a milkweed there. I know it seems a little random, but the milkweed is what the monarch butterflies feed on.
Okay.
So we leave them in our rows. We try to till around them and hoe around them and pull the weeds around them.
Right, and that goes along with you don't use chemicals, correct?
No, we don't use chemicals. The ground's been untouched by chemicals for over 30 years at this point.
Great. Great.
Yeah, that's something that's very important to us.
Right. And in your shop, you will see a sign that says there may be some bites or munches, and that is because there are no chemicals used. So in part of that natural process is bugs actually do help in some of our plants. We're attracting the bees to help with the pollination. And this is where you're really going to get your freshest, most healthy produce when it's untouched like this. So that's great.
And that is why we do start our own plants. So we have a nice strong plant to put in the ground, because a weak plant or a sick plant, when it goes in the ground, sends out a vibration that actually attracts the bugs that will devour and eat it. It's like, you know, the weak one of the flock.
Yeah, Darwinism in the plants world here.
I guess I had never thought about it quite that way, but yes, that would be true. That would be true.
All right. So here
we do. I realize it looks a little weedy here, but we do grow a lot of our tomatoes and peppers on landscape fabric.
Okay.
This is actually a professional grade, but you can get landscape fabric at Menards. It's like a 30-year that will last for quite a while.
And that cuts down on the weeding time.
Well, it actually serves several purposes. More than just that. Yes, it's wonderful that you don't have to weed it, but it raises the soil temperature. And like tomatoes, they need 70 degrees or warmer at night to ripen.
Okay. And
this helps hold in the heat. And the same with any of your other nightshade plant, like your peppers and your eggplant.
Okay.
They do better with a warmer soil temperature. And most of us in this area have a clay soil that tends to be a little colder. So that's one reason why we use that. Not only that, but it holds in the moisture. And since we haven't had a lot of moisture, it's a good thing.
So have you seen that low moisture in some of your watermelon and other melons? Do you have any of those out here? Pumpkins, squash, any of those affected by your low water content?
Well, you know what? Everything is affected by it.
Okay.
Melons, yeah, they're showing the stress of it. Fortunately, the winter squash and the pumpkins are looking good at this point. The fruit is tending to be a little smaller than I guess what I would otherwise expect, but I still have a good harvest at this point.
Great.
And any bit of rain,
we'll take it.
Yes, we'll take it. It's all a good thing.
So how many acres are we looking at out here?
For actual garden, this is about 5 acres. I personally own about 12 here, but it's a part of my family farm.
Okay.
So from here down to the river is my family farm. My parents actually live right on the river down there.
Okay.
And then on that side in the sand, we do about 5-6 acres in the sand down there. And that's where the melons are.
Okay.
And along with a little bit of everything that we put in over here.
Sure.
Because the soils react differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of amazing. We can plant down there 2 weeks later than here, and I will have product out of the sand first.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. The different soils, it's amazing what a difference it makes in the production.
Great. So we've got tomatoes.
Yep, there's tomatoes, a lot of peppers.
Cabbage.
Yep. Cabbage, that is another thing that's challenging to do without the chemicals. I use a lot of DE on it.
Okay, and explain to us what DE is.
It's diatomaceous earth is the full name of it, but it's fossilized shellfish. And it has little diatoms in it which are sharp, and if the bugs ingest it, it grinds up their guts and kills them, or if it scrapes them, they dehydrate.
Okay.
And then eventually die from that. So it's not a fast-acting thing. And you do have to stay on top of it. Every time it rains, you got to go and put more on. But it's better than the chemicals as far as I'm concerned.
Right, right.
It also works as a fertilizer in the soil. It's high in calcium.
Okay.
And for most of us in this area, we have a calcium deficiency. So anytime you can get calcium worked into your soil any way, it's a good thing.
Right.
So, so that's how we take care of the cabbages with DE. And if you look, there are chomp marks and bug marks all along.
Huh.
And then all the way along here, this is a whole row of summer squash.
Wow. And so this is going to take up quite a bit of room. So do you use any kind of like an overgrowth pattern? So some of them are going to be gone and that will give you room for your squash, or how do you lay out your garden?
Actually, yes, and that's quite a detailed answer to that question. You know, some things come out sooner than others. So when we put in kohlrabi, we put in something next to it that will eventually grow over it. So with kohlrabi, we usually go then with some type of a squash plant that will vine out, or even, I don't know, gourds, some type of nature, something of that nature. Now, along in here, the summer squash plants will continue to grow in size, but then the beets will come out.
Okay.
So then it will be easier for us to pick in between. And if you notice on the other side of the beets, we have tomatoes, and the tomatoes will continue to bush out. So yes, we do plan for that along the way here.
And that's another strategy for people that have a smaller area at home.
Absolutely.
Learning and coming, you know, they are welcome to come out and visit with you about those kinds of things too, right?
Absolutely. I am happy to talk to people about that.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's important to kind of highlight as well. You're not just here just to sell vegetables, but you do a lot of community education and really the promotion of the, it's not organic like we've talked about, but just the natural plants and the getting people to eat healthier, and that's really the goal.
Yeah, you do need to understand, I'm not certified organic.
Right.
But I do
it's
follow
organic.
all the practices. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
To give you another example, with all this straw, this is what we call the lazy man's potatoes.
Okay.
Now you work up your ground, you throw your potatoes on top of the ground, and then you throw a straw or hay over it, and you keep doing that, and then it keeps growing up through it. So when there's some that have popped up through, when they pop up through, then you throw another layer on. It makes it a lot easier for digging the potatoes out.
Yeah, and how do you know when they're ready?
Kind of dig and check.
Dig and check, all right.
Yep. Now, example of trying to use the space in a companion planting. So we have sunflowers first, and as you can see, they are the giant variety.
Yeah.
And then right in behind that, we have broomcorn. And I always put those two together because the wind tends to blow them over or knock them over, so that way they support each other. And then in behind that, we have popcorn.
Okay.
And then that's a second row of support. And then beyond that, that is all gourds. And gourds are one of those things where you don't really have to pay a whole lot of attention to them. I go through it, till them in between the rows until they run, and then you just let them go, and they can run in between the corn, and the chickens really like the little housing or sanctuary area that they do find in there, and that's Henrietta, by the way.
So now, will you actually sell the popcorn? Can you come out and get the popcorn, or?
Well, if it does materialize. This is the first year we've had popcorn in a lot of years.
Good.
So, if it all works out right.
All right. Yes. And so when would that be ready, if someone was looking specifically for that?
We would be looking more into October for that.
And how long?
Let it dry.
How long are you out here? October seems late for the garden. How long are you open?
I'm usually open into November.
Okay.
As long as it gets above freezing during the day, I can be open.
Okay.
And obviously have product. And most years I do. Most years I'm open into the first week in November.
Okay. So that's good to know as well. That's very helpful.
Yep.
So what are going to be your late season products? If we come out at the end of October, what can we expect to find out here?
You would find a variety of pumpkins and squash. There should be potatoes at that point. There again, that remains to be seen. But that's mainly what it will be by then. And
your peak product right now at this time of the year? We're here at the end of August.
Yeah, I would say the tomatoes and the summer squash and the green. Yes, she likes toes. We'll take care of this. She will continue to pester your toes. Sorry. Two kinds of beans. Actually, three. I'm sorry. We do a yellow wax bean, a green bean, and then one that's called dragon's tongue.
Okay.
And they've been going steady. Now we have a little downtime with them. The plants are regenerating and resetting blooms, so we'll have more again shortly. But the dragon's tongue is really my personal favorite.
Okay.
It's a yellow flat bean with purple stripes.
Oh.
And yeah, my grandchildren call it the Vikings bean.
Ah, there you go.
Yep.
Well, that's great. This is a beautiful tour of your garden. You have really extensive products. I know we've seen fennel up on the counter and other things as well. You know, the varieties pretty much are endless. And you, like you said, it's whatever time of the year. So even if you've been out to Valley Veggies, it's probably a good idea to revisit, get out here, see what's coming up new.
It's always changing.
That's
always.
right. Right. And you are here, what times are usually available if someone has questions?
Monday through Saturday, normally 10 to 6.
Okay.
And then Sunday is noon to 5.
Okay. So you're out here quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
I live out here. Yes. Yes, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Great.
I love the outdoors.
Awesome. And you said this is part of a family farm that's been here?
Yeah, I'm 5th generation on this farm. My family settled this valley.
Great.
And my daughter would be 6, and my grandson that's right there would be
Seventh generation.
7th generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So amazing. So a great place to stop out and support, learn about your produce, ask your questions if you're working on your own garden, and come out and see the chickens if you would like to offer a few toasts.
Yes. Oh yes. The chickens like people too.
We're going to head back up to the greenhouse, and Amanda, Terry's daughter, has a great recipe using some of these beautiful produce we've seen in the garden. Welcome back. Now that we've had a great tour of this beautiful garden, it's time to put some of these foods to work. Amanda and Jaden, hi bud.
Hi.
Are going to work hard and put us together a beautiful salad. And you're going to have a lot of variety of this. This is going to be the basic salad, but I think you're going to walk us through a few varieties that can go along with this too, using some of the different plants here in the garden. So take it away. Let's take a look at this recipe.
Okay, so for this evening, I wanted to make something called Lemony 3 Basil Salad. Not a very creative name, but it gets the point across. It features 3 of our different kinds of basils and fennel and cucumber.
Perfect.
So it also have variations as we go along, but you can use just about any kind of citrus dressing with it. I'm just choosing to use a lemon dressing.
Okay.
So to get started, why don't we peel the cucumber? I chose, you can have 3 medium cucumbers to maybe a mixture. I have 1 large, 1 medium, and then we have what we call lemon cucumber. It looks like this. It's very different, but it tastes similar. So
yeah, so this is something that maybe you haven't seen in the grocery store or you have maybe overlooked. As I say many times on our grocery store tours, we see so many different products that people never even give a try. So this is going to be nice and exciting to try this in this recipe. If you don't find it at your local grocer, now you know where you can get it.
Exactly. So we all know how to peel a cucumber, I hope. Jaden is going to help me with getting this in the bowl once I get it cut. Oops. So we have a wide size, a variety of sizes of cucumbers, as you can see. And I'll start cutting this. You cut off the ends, and I cut down the middle. And this one does not have very large seeds. I believe it's a burpless variety, so I like that. And then again, so basically you're quartering it. And you want to keep your cucumber slices somewhat uniform so that it has a better presentation when you're serving it.
So now Jaden, what's your job out here on the farm? What do you all help with?
Picking and planting.
Good. Do you help with the weeding?
That too.
That's a tough job, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So, Bud, do you want to help me put these cucumber slices in here?
So that's one very large cucumber. Yes. So if you wanted to, what else could we add in here? So we have our basic ingredients of the fennel and the lemon pepper and the lemon dressing. So what else will go in this, or what else could we add?
You could use different herbs other than the basil. You could use parsley. We also have, you can maybe use summer squash. Some raw summer squash. Okay. I've tried that. It tastes good. I'm trying to think what else we have around. You could add peppers into this. Right. That would also be good, or onions. And
maybe some dill would go great with this, I think, when you look at these.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And here's our fennel.
huge. Beautiful.
This is very, very pretty. And oops, to get the fennel going here, we'll get back to our cucumber here, is I just cut off the top part. And Cora, you want to also cut off the bottom part here.
Jaden, what does that smell like? Do you smell that? Does it smell like black licorice?
No.
Well, I
Does
think it
to me.
I don't even smell it.
You don't smell it. Smells really good. Actually, fennel is one of my favorite vegetables, and they're a little bit hard to find. Now, not a lot of people grow them locally, so if you haven't tried fennel before, it's really something you got to put on your plate. I've said it time and time again, but to see one this beautiful, it's really a nice vegetable to add. And you might notice too, the seeds can be added, the stems can be used in different soups. So if you haven't tried it, do stop out, grab one of these beautiful fennel and put them to work.
Yes, and now I also cored the fennel, so this is what the core looks like.
Okay. Much like an onion is how I usually try to think of cutting these.
Yes, that is a very good analogy there. So then I cut it in strips,
Okay.
and then go back over it to kind of match the size of the cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jaden, do you want to start putting that in there, please? Just off to the side.
So you could really take advantage of using the different, what other kinds of cucumbers you've mentioned you have out here? You have the lemon cucumber, something else. We grew lots of different things out here. So just trying these different foods in a recipe is really important. You know, when you have it like a combination like this, if you're not huge on the black licorice flavor, you can try it in there. It's going to tone it down just a bit. It's a great way to get some different vegetables in there. We know that these dark green leafies are high in our vitamin K. We have a lot of zinc and other nutrients in here as well. So it's a way to put these to work. You know, the prices are great, and you're going to feel a lot better eating these.
Yes, and now for the lemon cucumber, and also with the other cucumber I sliced up, you could leave the peel on if you want. There's no chemicals on there, no waxy residue. So if you happen to not have the time or want to deal with it, you wouldn't have to peel these.
Okay.
And this is what the inside of this lemon cucumber looks like. I can get a shot of that a little bit. So it looks exactly the same.
Yep.
It just gives a little bit of variety. And then Jane's going to help me there. Then we're going to move on to the basils. Right there. We grow 4 different kinds, but I chose 3 out of the 4.
Okay.
What we're going to use tonight is a Thai basil, a purple basil, and a sweet basil. So your basic sweet basil everyone's familiar with.
Right.
And then we do have a 4th is a lemon basil.
Okay.
So I liked especially the purple basil because it adds some nice color to your meal, but it still has that same basil taste. So we're gonna cut up each kind to equal about a tablespoon. So have Jaden put that in for us. And that was the Thai basil I just put in. And now we have the purple. And one tip for basil that is helpful is to treat it like a cut flower. So if you want it to last as long as possible, you want to change the water every couple days, but keep it in water on your counter.
Great.
And it'll last, I think one time I got my herbs to last about a week and a half.
Wow.
Just sitting on the counter. So that's one way to stretch the life of your herbs.
Now, Jaden, you have to be able to smell this. Do you smell the basil?
A little.
Yeah, that's a great, strong smell. You can definitely tell you're adding that in. Now, if we did a nutritional analysis of this so far, we're basically at very little calories. We haven't added anything that isn't natural. So far, this has been a perfect salad. So, we can actually find some really good tasting foods we haven't added sugar and we haven't added a lot of salt. We haven't done any of those things to make it unhealthy, and yet it's going to have a really distinct flavor. So far, just a perfect recipe.
Yes. So here is what I chose for the dressing. It's a vinaigrette, a lemon vinaigrette made with virgin olive oil and sea salt. So it's very tasty, very simple. And like I said before, you could use some other kind of citrus dressing if you don't have a lemon one. And if you really want to cut out the calories, you could even just use
Squeeze of lemon on
squeeze
there.
of lemon would do the trick too.
Right.
I lost count now, but it's supposed to be
That
4.
was 3.
So,
There you go.
and then if Jada maybe wants to mix that around very carefully. And there's a lot of wiggle room with the amounts of vegetables you want to use, with this,
Right,
of course.
right.
So it's just a really good basic summer salad when you don't feel like turning on the heat in your kitchen.
Exactly. And you'll see too, this is about 4 to 6 servings, and with only 4 tablespoons of dressing. Again, very, very low calorie. This is what you want to be bringing to our local potlucks or up to the lake. This is what you want your family to be eating and enjoying, and really teaching kids to enjoy your vegetables. The mix in the flavor in this is going to be pretty outstanding, and really is going to be a beautiful addition onto any table, I think.
So this is what it looks like finished. If you wanted, you could even just keep just the purple basil, not use the other ones, and you have even more color. Or add peppers, like we mentioned before. Summer squash. I know I'm forgetting something. But we had plenty with that large cucumber.
That was one large cucumber.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of variations. It just kind of gives you a basic idea of what you could do.
Right, and we grabbed all of those out of this local garden and right behind us, put it together, and we're all ready to eat. So beautiful salad, beautiful tour, and a beautiful location. So if you haven't been out to Valley Veggies, make sure you swing out. We're but 5.5 miles from Mankato, about 20 miles from New Ulm. Definitely worth the drive. You're really going to be pleased with what you could find. I want to take a minute to thank Terry and Amanda and Jaden for having us out here tonight, and I hope you all can make a trip out. That's it for this week's episode of What's Cooking. I'll see you next week.